A story born 100 years ago of a noble man whose life is worth reliving and looking back to.
He's the only president with a national strategy.
You'd think that Marcos was the bogeyman, etc. But he was actually a very kind person.
The way that the Marcoses promoted the country, promoted the Filipino, is something I think that cannot be equaled in any administration.
His story speaks of the great Filipino dream, a father of a nation, in conquest for absolute freedom, true justice, and real democracy for the Filipinos.
The great slogan that he followed was, he wanted this nation to be great again.
He was the one who was actually seeking for an independent foreign policy out of the ambit, out of the axis of the United States.
It was President Marcos who declared for the first time what is now known as the Kalayaan Group of Islands as subject to the sovereignty of the Philippines.
The President also wanted a negotiation with the United States about the termination of parity in 1974.
Yung ginawa ni President Park Chung-hee sa may Korea ay yung strategy ni President Marcos na ang pinakamataas na level of development ng Pilipinas over the last 50 years ay inong panahon ni President Marcos, specifically during the earlier years of martial law.
His story is a story of wisdom and goodwill, a story of a visionary leader with a strong political will who realized the Filipino potential and propelled the nation to progress.
Mr. Marcos provided a lot more impetus in creating programs of government that meant building of infrastructure in a very essential way. All these things moved forward in his time very rapidly in the 4 years that he was in charge.
Because that's the whole history of the energy policy. And that energy policy is being followed now. Agriculture, you should, I mean, look what Manny Piñol is doing. He's following Masagana 99, di ba? Kay Marcos yun.
His story is a story of character.
A war veteran who went to Bataan and picked up some soil and put it in a ziplock and sent it to you. Kinuha niya. Alam mo, nung pagkakuha niya, tumalikod sa akin, bumalik sa kwarto, tapos nakikita ko na lang yung kanyang shoulders. Umiiyak.
Minsan, di ko nakita magalit. Pag medyo may problem, may crisis doon sa Makiki, tawagin niyo si Father, magsisimba na lang tayo. Pag may mga balita, minsan hindi ko nakita nagmura against the government. Basta tulungan na lang natin. Ganun.
Isang malaking injustice kung mananatili sa isip ng marami na si Ferdinand hindi nagmahal sa bayan. He loved this country so much that he was willing to sacrifice the presidency when he could have definitely attacked the people there at EDSA.
A story of a strong man whose life was reduced by a chapter of our history.
I have proclaimed martial law in accordance with the powers vested in the President by the Constitution of the Philippines.
Deklarang martial law to solve yung communist insurgency tsaka yung Muslim secessionism.
Yung kaguluhan na yon, hindi naman si President Ferdinand Marcos ang nagdala o ang dahilan ng mga kaguluhan na yun. It was a phase when it was hip, uso ang lumaban sa gobyerno.
A story born 100 years ago about life, leadership, and legacy waiting to be retold.
Si Marcos talaga really made a mark in who we are in international politics. No?
But if you compare what he did for our country during the time he was president, no one should ever be sorry that we had Marcos for a president.
Kung ikumpara mo yung good points ni Marcos at saka yung good points ng ibang naging presidente natin mula sa kalingkingan yung iba.
Since the Marcos administration, I don't know, have you really gotten off the ground?
Only history can rightfully judge President Marcos.
This is history. This is the story of Marcos. Marcos 100.